Hello, you're listening to 97.2 Cam FM. The following production of Hell on Ice by Edward Ellsberg is being broadcast as part of the ADC Online season. This production will run for 60 minutes. We hope you enjoy the show. I first saw the Jeanette on a beautiful summer's day at the port of San Francisco. The vessel was covered with American flags. Many were out to see us set off, including most of the San Francisco Yacht Club. It was an exciting day as everyone was sure fame and fortune were awaiting the ship's next crew. As the ship's engineer, I was keen to see how it would perform in the Arctic conditions. Looking at the ship's reinforced hull, I was confident that it would be up to the journey. I had not yet been introduced to all of the ship's commanding officers, so I found my old friend, Captain DeLong.
Hey Chief, good to see you. I want you to meet our navigator.
How's it going? The name's Dannenhauer.
Nice to meet you. I hope you know the ship's navigation equipment by now.
I've been practicing for hours.
Sure you have. We're not even moving yet.
We will be soon.
The sooner we set sail, the sooner I'll have something to write about.
How long till we set sail?
Less than an hour now.
I sometimes read back on the messages I wrote in my diary during our fateful journey on the Jeanette. July 8th. We set sail. The army is out and uniformed. They give us an 11-gun salute. The first few weeks of our journey northwards were uneventful. August 3rd, just reached Unalaska. Comfortable journey so far. August 12th, arrived at Port St. Michael. Took on a pack of sled dogs. September 2nd, now due northwards toward Wrangel Island.
Ice approaching, Captain, on our starboard side.
Ice at this latitude, at this time of year? That's impossible.
Keep away from that ice! Go hard alee! Hard alee!
Ice on the port side, pack ahead.
Oh no, we're surrounded. We've got no choice. We're going to have to tack.
It's not possible, Captain. There isn't space. We'll end up being swept by the wind.
We'll just have to break through then. Chief, ready the engines! Full steam ahead!
Right away, Captain.
Faster, Chief! Brace for impact!
The Jeanette was shocked to the core by the impact. The ice pack barely moved. Floes of ice moved about the ship, hampering further our ability to maneuver. Before long, the Jeanette was entirely encased in ice. Reading back on the captain's journal, I remember the days at the end of that first summer.
September 6th. The men are shaken but in good spirits. We're confident we'll break free of the ice soon. September 20th. No sign of movement on the ice pack, except for some steady groans and light vibration. Crew getting worried that we'll spend the winter here.
Supper's ready. Call down the crew.
We'll do our Sam. Lads, get down to the mess for your supper.
So, does anyone have any idea when we'll get out of this ice and back on course?
Captain, this is utterly ridiculous. According to Dannenhauer, we're at 71 degrees 8 minutes latitude. This point north was reached 20 years ago by an ordinary sailing ship, and the Jeanette has gotten stuck here. Under your command, I might add.
Mind your tone, Collins. I did not give you that information to be used against your commanding officer.
Relax, Dannenhauer. He's just letting off some steam. Collins, I'm confident we won't be restrained to this ice for much longer.
You say that, but I'm already having my doubts, Captain.
Let's change the subject. Ah, Sam, how's that coffee coming along?
Yeah, I'm dying for some caffeine.
Nearly ready now. Finest coffee in the Arctic.
That night we enjoyed the coffee and had a smoke out the window. Spirits rose, and only Collins was grumbling when it was time to turn in. 2 long months passed, with no reprieve from the ice.
December 5th. The boredom is the worst of it. Every day we carry out the same routine, morning till night, eating the same food, taking the same exercise, doing the same jobs and chores. And the only sight for miles around is endless floes of ice. December 12th. The crew are beginning to get worried about scurvy. We've added some potassium nitrate to our water. It was as cloudy as the ice surrounding us. With this much salt, we'll be dead from the scurvy before the winter's over.
Captain, I can get our water distilled, but I'm going to need fuel.
How much coal is this going to require, Chief?
About £4 a day, Captain.
That's too much. At that rate, we won't have enough left to reach the pole. Chip, can you verify?
That's correct. By my calculation, we'll need to burn at most £1 a day to reach the pole.
Then £1 a day we will burn. I will not threaten the success of this expedition.
But Captain, Melville has a point. Our limited supplies of lime juice won't be enough to ward off the scurvy. Many other expeditions have failed because the water was too salty and the crew became sick.
Chip, you are a far more experienced seaman than me. I will trust your judgment on this.
Thank you, Captain. Given the circumstances, I think it would be best that we abandon our expedition to the Arctic and focus on the health and well-being of our crew.
Very well. Chief, start up the distillation process and get us some clean drinking water.
We now knew that our polar expedition to the Arctic was a doomed failure. On our return to America, it would be regarded as a humiliating waste of effort, and our spirits dropped even lower as we headed deeper into the Arctic winter. Christmas came and went with little cheer, and we slowly realised that we would be stuck on that ice pack until next summer's thaw.
January 6th. Dannenhauer damaged his eye while out taking measurements from one of our experiments. Apparently slipped on an ice floe and went face first into some jagged formation. Dr. Ambler gave me the bad news.
We've got 2 choices, Captain. Either we operate now and risk exposing it to the Arctic sunlight, or risk getting it infected.
Will we be able to keep him indoors, do you think?
I'm not sure. Dannenhauer is very keen to get back on his feet as soon as possible. My advice would be to hold off for now, just in case we need to make a move at some point.
I don't imagine we'll be leaving the Jeanette. But I take your point. To be honest, I can't really make this decision for him. Leave it up to Dannenhauer. He can decide for himself.
Okay. I'll tell him how it is then. Let him decide.
Come in, Doctor.
I have some bad news. If we don't operate, your eye could get infected. But we can't afford to expose it to the light if we do.
Well, I can't go around with my eye in this state one way or another. Do the surgery, it's my decision.
January 20th. We caught one of our seamen, Ericsson, out on deck, staring blankly out over the ice. He stood there for 10 minutes, doing absolutely nothing.
Ericsson, what are you looking at? Ericsson?
I'm being watched, sir. If they hear me, they'll shoot me.
What on earth are you talking about? Who's watching you?
The mutineers, sir. They're planning to take over the ship and throw out Captain DeLong.
Calm down, Ericsson. I need to know their leader.
Can't tell you, they'll kill me.
No one's going to hurt you, Ericsson. Now, their leader.
It's our Sam.
Oh, you've got to be joking. The cook?
Yes, sir. He's the mind behind it all.
Ericsson, I want you to count to 10 for me. Do you think you can do that? Slowly now.
Yes, sir. That's no problem at all. 1, 2, 3.
Come with me, Ericsson. We're going to take a visit to see Dr. Ambler.
Me? I don't need a doctor.
It's just a routine check. Don't worry.
Dr. Ambler confirmed our fears. Ericsson had gone completely mad. An officer bedridden with an eye injury and now a seaman who's lost his mind. What will this ice do to us before the winter's over?
The last months of that winter dragged on long and hard. When February came, the temperature had dropped to 57 degrees below zero, and for 6 months we had barely seen the sun at all.
March 3rd. Every day is the same. I'm not sure how much longer I can keep my own sanity. My favourite dog, Snoozer, is the only respite.
Get that mutt away from me.
What's wrong, Collins? He's friendly.
That thing could be rabid.
March 30th. Finally, we see daylight again. The crew are like zombies, following routines like robots. We pray for movement in the ice, but it stays thick and solid as the Jeanette's hull. Be careful what you wish for.
Nice! It's spitting at the top of that floe!
Get those crew back on the ship! Immediately!
We raced back to the ship as quickly as we could. A large piece of ice was beginning to move and break away at the top of the nearby floe. It tumbled down towards the Jeanette with breakneck speed. We were now fearing desperately for our lives. Everyone took cover on the Jeanette, except Dan, who was still in his cabin. We braced for the eventual impact. But the blow never came. By some gravitational miracle, the small mountain of ice stopped right before the Jeanette, and our lives were saved.
April 3rd. I issue a document to the crew and ask each of them to add their initials. It states that each crew member must explicitly ask permission from the captain before leaving the ship.
That day in March was the first time we had truly feared for our lives on the Jeanette. With fear came irritability, which only grew worse as the short Arctic summer came to a close, and we were still yet to move from the ice.
August 4th. The crew are in bad spirits. I've allowed them to have an hour's exercise each morning, from 11 till 12. But Chip, why haven't I received my weather measurements today?
It's Collins's turn today, Captain. Did he not turn them in?
He did not. Would you mind bringing him here, please?
Right away, Captain.
Thank you, Chip.
You called for me?
Ah, yes, Collins. It seems that you forgot to hand in your meteorological measurements today.
I must have forgot.
Why did you forget, Collins? Surely it's become routine by now.
I was out fishing, Captain. I'm sick of tinned tomatoes and lime juice.
That's to ward off the scurvy. Do you mean to say that you violated my orders by not asking permission to leave the ship?
No, I do not. This was during my exercise hour.
That exercise hour is for exercise only, Collins. You know that.
No, I don't. And to be clear, I don't like the way you're talking to me right now.
I am your commanding officer, Collins, and I'm saying that you disobeyed an order.
Well, I'm saying that I didn't. I'll have you know that I'm Mr. Bennett's representative on this expedition, and it will bring me great satisfaction to tell him how I've been treated by Captain DeLong.
Oh, stop, Collins. You're stepping out of line.
Well, I tell you now that I'm not.
Oh, just stop. I'm relieving you of your duties on this ship. Go back to your quarters.
With pleasure, Captain.
The long, totally dark months of that second winter drained away at our last hopes of escaping from this ice. Each month we made plans for what we could do once the ice was to release us, but they were all in vain. The ice wasn't going to release us. In May we saw the first dawn for 6 months. During our exercise hour we basked in the light, despite the temperature being well below freezing. Unfortunately, Danenhauer stepped out of his tent, and the light caused his eye to inflame terribly. One morning, one of our seamen, Cole, came up on deck in a state of panic.
Captain, the ice is breaking through the sides. It's crushing the hull.
Cole, you're an experienced seaman. Now address me like one. Take a deep breath and tell me what has happened.
There seems to be some damage to the wall in one of the cabins below. The ice is pressing inwards on the seams.
Chief, go down and take a look for me, will you?
Yes, Captain. I'll have a look now. As expected, there was no real cause for concern. A considerable amount of oakum had come off the panelling on the wall of the cabin, and there was visible movement with the ice. However, the Jeanette's hull had been reinforced with several layers of thick planking, and I was confident it would hold up. Or so I thought.
June 10th. I wake to a low rumbling. The Jeanette is shaking as if in the midst of an earthquake. Quickly I run on deck. The ice holding the Jeanette splits and breaks apart up ahead. The Jeanette plunges into the water. Ice floes move rapidly to fill the gap, and now they are pressing tightly against the Jeanette's hull.
The hull isn't holding, Captain. We have to evacuate.
Take the supplies.
Get the sleds and the boats off now!
Abandon ship. Over the sides.
Over the sides!
The captain was the last to jump. People scattered like flies at what remained of the ice floes. We watched the Jeanette on its final journey into the depths of the Arctic Sea. Our situation had become dire. We now had limited food stores, including mostly pemmican, tinned tomatoes, and what remained of the lime juice. The captain decided that we should head due south for the Lena Delta and the Siberian Islands. What he didn't tell us was that it was 500 miles away. We had to drag 3 boats and sleds across the ice pack.
Let's get moving.
We trudged endlessly across the ice. Ericsson dragged the sleds up each mound, even with Danenhauer laying in one of them. Each night we made camp on wherever we could find somewhere reasonably solid. Exhausted, the men took their rations and collapsed into their sleeping bags. Malnourished from lack of real food, their stomachs rumbled. Freezing even under their several layers on the exposed pack, their sleep was poor and broken.
Chief, can I speak to you for a moment?
Yes, Captain.
Our position when we started. Do you remember our latitude?
Latitude 71 degrees 4 minutes north, unless I'm mistaken.
That's what I thought. I've made my calculations and double-checked with the sextant. We're north of where we started.
What? I can't believe it. Captain, I won't believe it.
Oh, it's true, I'm afraid. The northward drift is moving the ice faster than we can walk.
Oh no.
Now, don't go telling the crew. If they find out, they won't walk another foot. If we change our course to southwest rather than south, we might make some progress before we reach the edge of this pack.
We changed our course the next day. The captain said the ice looked more favourable in that direction. Each day we made about 5 or 6 miles. Ambler was our scout. We reached an area of slush, which was impossible to traverse in our gear.
We can't go this way, but there's another route around. If we go back north, we can change course westwards and then south.
Oh, my feet are killing me. I haven't had a proper meal in weeks.
Me too.
Quiet down! Doctor, is that the only way around?
Yes, Captain. If we go much further, then we'll get stuck in the slush and we'll lose the sleds.
All right then. Let's make camp for tonight. July 2nd. Today, Alexei caught some fish in a nearby lake. As he and his crewmate returned, there arose some applause in the camp. That night the crew dined like kings. Even Collins got over his grudges and wolfed into his meal like the rest of us.
That's a bit.
You know what I mean? It's really
Give
good.
me a fan.
Yes, no, absolutely. I think this is absolutely the most positive day we've had in a very long time.
July 12th. The crew are making good progress. Yesterday we made 14 miles in one day. A new record. The drift has changed direction and now was increasing our southing. We sighted land, our hopes rising. July 25th. The land turns out to be a new, undiscovered island. I plant our flag and name it Bennett Island. Back on solid ground after 2 years. It's a good feeling.
We spent an extra day camping on Bennett Island, resting and preparing for the journey ahead. We continued the journey by boat through the Siberian Islands and onwards to the Lena Delta. We reached Semenovsky Island, the closest to the Siberian mainland.
How far across the sea to the mainland?
Another 200 miles. Now, Chip, take the small boat. I'll take the large one. Chief, I want you in charge of the whaleboat. Dunenhauer, you ride with Melville.
But Melville's an engineer. Can't expect me to ride with him.
What are you getting at, Dunenhauer?
I am a line officer, and Melville, being the chief engineer, is technically part of the staff. How can you expect me to take orders from an inferior member of the crew?
Dunenhauer, you are on the sick list. So, you are not currently active in duty, and thus do not have a rank. You will answer to Melville and carry out his orders when and to the degree that is appropriate.
Can I ride in a boat with Chip? At least he is also a line officer.
No. Now get ready to set sail.
The 3 boats left Semenovsky Island in the morning of September 12th. There were 13 crew with the captain, 8 with Chip, and 10 with myself. Collins and Dr. Ambler went with the captain. The morning was calm and peaceful. We made good progress. To our dismay, the weather worsened in the afternoon. The waves grew larger and started to rock the boats viciously from side to side.
Drop the anchor. We have to turn the boat against the current.
It has to catch on something to hold the weight. Drop it now! To our dismay, we watched the anchor float up as we desperately tried to find some ice block underwater that it would catch. Drenched, we threw it again and again. It was no use. Our boat was left to the mercy of the sea. Behind us, we spotted Lieutenant Chip's boat. A man was desperately trying to fix the sail, which had apparently gotten caught and turned in on itself. Without a sail, they would be completely helpless. Suddenly, the entire boat was engulfed in a massive wave and disappeared under the surface, crew included. Totally soaked to the skin by the sea spray, we eventually got our sea anchor fixed in place and rode out the storm by taking shelter behind a tarpaulin blanket. Eventually we reached land, somewhere along the Lena. We had to stop a mile from the shore as the ice was too thick for the boats. Iverson broke a path through the ice for us. At some points we were knee deep in the freezing water, sometimes it was up to our hips. When we reached the shore, we collapsed and had to rest for an hour before returning for the boats on Dannenhauer.
Everything's gonna be fine, right, Chief?
Cole, stop rolling around on the ground like a child. If the crew hear that laughter, they'll start to panic.
But everything's just fine, Chief, isn't it? Everything's right and dandy.
That night we mourned the loss of Chip and the crew of his vessel.
Each and every person on that boat was a fine seaman, and Chip was the finest I've ever known. May they rest in peace. May they rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
Rest in
peace.
2 weeks later, while sailing up the Lena, we were spotted by a couple of fishers. We were starving from lack of food, surviving only on a tiny morsel of pemmican per day. We offered the remainder of our alcohol to the fishers to show we were friendly. The fate of DeLong and his crew was communicated to us through Nindemann and Noros, who scouted ahead of DeLong's party in search of aid and were rescued by villagers.
September 14th. Our boat, sailless, finally comes to shore. By my estimate, the nearest settlement should be 95 miles to the south. We're starving. Only have enough food to last a few days. September 15th. After a night's sleep, we start on the trek. Half the men can barely walk, their legs in terrible pain. Most of us are hampered by the frostbite. September 20th. We find some huts, but the residents have long since departed. We search for food, find nothing of substance. Dinner tonight, one tiny piece of pemmican each. October 4th. Ericsson's feet give out, and he collapses on the ground.
My feet are killing me, Captain. I just can't stand on them any longer.
Ericsson, do you think I came this far just to leave a man behind? On your feet, and that's an order.
You'll have to lift me, Captain. My feet just won't carry my weight.
I'll carry you all the way to the next village if I have to. Now take my hand.
Thank you, Captain. I'm forever in your debt. You've done great things for us, and we're all in your debt.
That evening, Dr. Ambler examined Hans.
I'm going to take your socks off, Hans. Hold on a moment. I'm going to put a bandage on now. That's all fine. This is going to sting a bit. Dannenhauer, can you hold him?
Don't worry, Hans. It looks fine.
Don't lie to me. I saw something fall out when that sock was removed.
You're imagining things. Just take it easy now.
I'm taking it easy. Just tell me the truth. I can take it. Stop trying to make me feel better.
Okay, that's all done. I'll leave you to get some rest.
I'll be better in no time, Hans. You can trust me.
October 6th. Today, Ericsson passed away in his sleep. We said a prayer for him. October 10th. We barely make a mile a day. Food? 1 tablespoon of glycerine. October 14th. Alexei. Weakening. Supper, an old boot. October 17th. Alexei died in the night. Buried him in some snow. We have to keep moving. Keep moving. October 21st. Cack and Lee. Dead. October 28th. Guyvitzer. Dead. October 29th. Dresser. Dead. October 30th. Boyd and Gores dead. Mr. Collins dying.
Mr. Collins dying. Those were the last words written in the captain's journal. Months of searching eventually brought me to the body of Alexei, and then to DeLong's arm sticking out above the snow. His face appeared calm, as if his work had been done. Atop that rocky promontory, I built for my shipmates their final resting place. Through the huge cross above the cairn, the Arctic winds continued to blow, mournfully wailing their eternal dirge. Thank you for listening to this production of Hell on Ice by Edward Ellsberg. Tonight, the role of DeLong was played by Amy Lever, Collins by Clancy Paris, Erickson by John Boulderson, Dannenhauer by Martin Fearon, and Melville by Paul Clark. This production was directed and produced by Paul Clark and edited by William Audis. To find out more about the ADC Online season, please visit www.adctheatre.com/what'son. We hope you tune in again soon.